You ever wake up one morning and realize you're not the person you thought you'd be by now? You stare at the ceiling, phone in your hand, scrolling through people who seem miles ahead, wondering how you got so far behind. The world keeps moving, faster, louder, stronger, and you're just stuck. You tell yourself it's just a phase, that you'll try again tomorrow. But deep down, you know you said that yesterday, and the day before that, and the day before that too. Maybe this is your rock bottom. Maybe this is the moment everything falls apart. The dream, the plan, the confidence, the belief. But let me tell you something. This story isn't about the fall. It's about what you do after. Because every great story, every legend, every fighter, every dreamer who ever made it, they all started right here, in the dark, in the doubt, in the silence where no one believed in them, not even themselves. So before we begin, remember this. Part 1 is the fall. Part 2 is the reflection. Part 3 is the rise. And Part 4, that's the legacy. But none of that happens if you quit here. So listen closely, because this isn't just a story. This is your story. There's a moment in life you never see coming, when everything you've been fighting for starts to fall apart. The dream, the plan, the person, the belief, all of it starts slipping through your hands, and you just stand there, watching it fade away while pretending you're fine. You tell yourself you'll start again tomorrow, but tomorrow never really comes. It's just another day where you're a little more tired, a little more doubtful, and a little more scared of trying again. Maybe you've been there. Maybe you gave your heart to something that never gave anything back. You kept trying, kept believing, and all you got in return was silence. The truth is, failure doesn't always come crashing down in one big moment. Sometimes it creeps in quietly through missed chances, ignored instincts, or one too many disappointments. One day you wake up and realize the dream is miles away and you don't even remember when you stopped chasing it. Maybe it was after the rejection that broke your confidence, or the relationship that drained your energy, or the project that failed no matter how hard you tried. You tell yourself it's not worth it anymore, but deep down, you know you didn't give up because it was impossible. You gave up because it hurt too much to keep believing. That's the thing about failure. It's not just about losing something. It's about losing the part of yourself that believed you could win. The version of you that woke up early, stayed up late, and kept going when everyone else quit. When that version fades, everything else follows. You stop dreaming, you stop planning, you stop believing that you still deserve another chance. And that's the real fall. Not when life knocks you down, but when you decide to stay there. Because somewhere between, I'll try again, and what's the point? You forgot that your story didn't end just because you stumbled. Every great story you've ever heard had this moment. The fall, the failure, the heartbreak, the silence. It's the point where the hero loses everything and starts questioning if it was ever worth it. But what makes those stories great isn't the fall. It's what comes after. It's when the hero decides to stand again, even when everything in them says not to. The problem is, most people never reach that part. They quit right before their breakthrough. They walk away before the story gets good. Maybe you're there right now, sitting in that quiet space between who you were and who you wanted to be, thinking you've wasted too much time or made too many mistakes. But listen, this is not the end of your story. This is the middle. This is the part where you find out what you're really made of. Starting again doesn't mean pretending the fall didn't happen. It means standing up and saying, yes, I failed, but I'm still here. It means forgiving yourself for the chapters that didn't go as planned. It means realizing your worth isn't tied to what fell apart. It's tied to what you're still capable of building. Everyone falls, but only a few rise. Some stay down because they keep staring at the ground, blaming the fall. Others look up, and they realize the fall was never the end. It was just the beginning of something new. The greatest strength you'll ever have isn't in never falling. It's in refusing to stay down. So if you failed yesterday, good. It means you tried. It means you cared enough to risk something. Don't let that effort die in regret. Pick it back up, start again, even if your hands are shaking. Because sometimes the second try isn't about doing it better. It's about doing it braver. This isn't your ending. It's your restart. The next chapter begins the moment you decide you're not done yet. So stand up, wipe the dust off your hands, take a deep breath, and start again, even if you failed yesterday. You ever wonder why we fear starting again? It's not the effort. It's not the work. It's the memory, the flashback of when we tried before and failed. We carry those moments like scars under our skin, reminders of the time we believed too much, loved too hard, hoped too soon. But here's the truth no one tells you. Your scars aren't signs of weakness. They're proof that you survived something that was meant to destroy you. Every failure you've ever had is evidence that you were brave enough to try. Think about it. People who never fail never risk anything real. You failed because you stepped into the arena when everyone else was too afraid to. You cared enough to show up, to give your heart, to chase something that mattered. That's not weakness, that's courage. And yet the world has this strange way of making you feel small for trying and not winning. You scroll through social media, see highlight reels of success and think, maybe I'm not built for this. But you forget something. No one posts their falls. No one shows the nights they cried, the days they doubted, the hours they almost gave up. The truth is, everyone you admire has fallen. The only difference is, they didn't let it define them. They use their failure as fuel, not as a finish line. So maybe it's time you stop calling yourself broken and start calling yourself in progress. Every single day you wake up, you have two choices: to repeat yesterday or to rewrite it. Reflection isn't about staring at the mirror and seeing what went wrong. It's about realizing what's still right. You're still breathing, still capable, still standing. That means the fight isn't over yet. You still have the power to rebuild, to change direction, to create something new from what was left behind. You're not behind. You're becoming. The process of becoming is painful. It requires patience, forgiveness, and the courage to look at your own reflection without shame. Because maybe, just maybe, you're not failing. You're forming. You're shedding old versions of yourself that no longer fit who you're meant to be. Don't be afraid of that transformation. It's what evolution looks like. You're not supposed to stay the same. You're supposed to outgrow the person who once settled, who once doubted, who once thought they weren't enough. And that happens right here, in the reflection. So before you move forward, take one deep breath and look back. Not to judge, but to understand. Every pain taught you resilience. Every rejection taught you redirection. Every fall taught you how to stand stronger. You've been gathering lessons in silence, preparing for a moment that's coming. A moment when everything will finally make sense. You won't recognize yourself then, because the version of you that's rising won't look like the one that fell. And that's the point. The fall breaks you. The reflection rebuilds you. You can't skip this part. You have to feel it. You have to face it. You have to forgive it. Because only then can you rise. There's a moment that happens after the silence, when the noise in your head starts to fade and you hear something else. Something faint but powerful. It's your heartbeat. It's the reminder that you're still here. That after everything and the loss, the failure, the heartbreak, life didn't end. You did not end. And that realization changes everything. Because the rise doesn't start with a crowd cheering your name. It starts in quiet defiance. It begins when you whisper to yourself, "I'm not done yet." You see, the world won't hand you strength. It gives you struggle and waits to see what you'll do with it. Every challenge that broke you was secretly training you. Every disappointment, every setback, every lonely night where you questioned your worth, those were not the end. They were your beginning. You weren't being buried. You were being planted. And now it's time to rise. This is the part of your story that no one claps for. The part where you show up again after the world stopped believing in you. Where you get out of bed even when you feel like collapsing. Where you put one foot in front of the other, even though your legs are shaking. People think strength is loud, that it's bold speeches and unstoppable energy. But real strength is quiet. It's silent mornings, unseen effort, and a decision repeated over and over again. I will not quit. That's where the rise begins. Not when you win, but when you refuse to lose again. Look around. The world loves a comeback story. Every champion you know started as someone who refused to stay broken. They failed. They fell. They disappeared for a while. But then one day they rose. They stopped caring about who doubted them and started focusing on proving themselves right. That's what you need to do. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your rise. You don't have to announce your comeback. Your actions will do it for you. Let your silence make them wonder. Let your results make them remember and understand this. You don't have to have it all figured out to start again. You just have to start. The road will reveal itself as you walk it. The strength you're waiting for will grow as you keep moving. Every step, no matter how small, builds momentum. Every small victory, every moment of courage, every time you say no to your old habits and yes to your new self, you are rising, slowly, quietly, powerfully. There will be days when it still hurts, when doubt whispers that you'll fail again. But that's okay. Rise anyway. You don't need to erase fear. You just need to walk with it. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision to move forward despite it. You've been through enough darkness to know that the light doesn't come to those who wait. It comes to those who walk. So keep walking. Keep showing up. Keep believing that this time it's going to work. Not because it's easy, but because you've changed. You're not the same person who failed before. You've learned. You've grown. You've been tested. You've been tempered by fire, and now that same fire burns inside you, not to destroy but to create. So when they doubt you, stay silent. When they underestimate you, stay focused. Because one day soon, they'll realize that the person they counted out has become unstoppable. You don't need to be loud to be powerful. You just need to be relentless. That's what the rise is. Not a single moment, but a series of choices to keep moving when everything in you says stop. So here's the truth. No one is coming to save you. No miracle is going to erase the pain. But you have everything you need already. You have strength in your scars, fire in your spirit, and wisdom in your wounds. And the most powerful version of you is the one who's rising right now, quietly rewriting your destiny while the world sleeps. This is your moment, your rebuild, your comeback. You've already fallen. You've already faced the reflection. Now it's time to rise. And when you do, rise so high that your past self can't even recognize you. Rise so hard that the version of you that wanted to quit finally rests in peace. Because the new you, the one that survived the storm, is just getting started. When the dust finally settles and the noise fades away, what's left isn't the applause. It's not the views, the likes, or the recognition. What's left is impact. The quiet kind. The kind that lives in the people who saw you fall and then watched you rise again. The kind that reminds others that if you made it through your darkest night, maybe they can too. Because legacy isn't built by those who never fail. It's built by those who never stop getting back up. And here's the truth that most people forget. Your comeback isn't just about you. The strength you're building right now, someone else will need it later. The courage it takes for you to start again, someone else will borrow it one day. You see, we all become the proof someone else is praying for. Maybe there's a kid out there who feels lost, broken, invisible, and they're scrolling through life trying to find a reason to believe again. Then they find your story. They hear your voice. They see your scars. And suddenly they realize they're not alone. That's legacy. Legacy isn't what people say when you're gone. It's how you make them feel while you're here. It's the invisible ripple you leave behind every time you choose to rise instead of quit. Every time you keep going, even when no one is watching, you're lighting a path for someone who hasn't even started their journey yet. You're showing them what resilience looks like. You're proving that hope isn't dead. It just lives quietly inside those who refuse to give up. The truth is, you won't remember every failure, every night you doubted yourself. But one day, you'll look back and realize that those were the moments that defined you. The pain shaped your perspective. The rejection built your resilience. The heartbreak taught you empathy. Everything that tried to break you was secretly building you into someone unshakable. That's not the end of your story. That's the foundation of your legacy. And when people see you now, smiling, moving forward, building again, they might think it was easy. They won't see the nights you cried, the times you almost quit, the battles you fought in silence, but you'll know. You'll know that your strength was forged in pain, your wisdom was born in failure, and your faith was tested by fire. You'll know that the person standing in front of the mirror today is not who you used to be. It's who you chose to become. So let this be your message to the world. I fell, but I rose. I was broken, but I rebuilt. I was lost, but I found myself again. And now I rise not for validation, but for purpose. Not for approval, but for impact. Not for fame, but for freedom. Because one day when you're gone, no one will remember how many times you failed. They'll remember how many times you stood back up. No one will care about the years you spent in the shadows. They'll remember the light you left behind. That's what makes you immortal. That's how legacies are born. Not from perfection, but from persistence. So when life hits you again, and it will, remember this. You've already survived worse. You've already proven that you can rebuild. You've already written the comeback once. Now it's time to live it again, but bigger, stronger, louder. Because every chapter of your story, every scar, every victory, it all leads here, to this moment. To this version of you, to the legacy you're creating right now. This is your story, your rise, your proof. And when the world looks at you years from now, they won't see someone who gave up. They'll see someone who never stopped becoming, because you didn't just survive, you became unstoppable. Hook recap for entire video series. If you gave up yesterday, start again today. Because one day, the same people who doubted you will tell your story as inspiration. Not because you were perfect, but because you refused to quit.